Hey, happy holidays, everybody, from the Brewery Underground Podcast. Hey, Scott Touron.
Steve-O, what's happening, man? Good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you, too. And
this is post-Thanksgiving.
It is. And Chris Finen is with us as well.
Hey, good times, boys. Good times. Good to be with you.
Chris, at this point, is basically the third Brewery Underground Podcast member.
Third wheel tonight.
Yeah.
We're doing the podcast from your house.
We are.
How about that?
It's pretty cool. I think this is neat. We get to look at each other. We've got some kind of audience. I don't know if they're friendly yet or not. We'll see.
Well, you know, we're talking beer on this podcast.
Yeah.
And we're going to be, I think we're going to be drinking a lot of different beer. I know the beer tonight that is the good beer that I'm actually drinking. This is from Westside Brewing. It is Oktoberfest. It was given to me over Thanksgiving from our Cincinnati correspondent, Liz. I was up there around the Thanksgiving time. And actually, that's a upcoming podcast that we're going to talk about. We're doing seltzers and ciders. And we're going to bring her on and our friend Jonathan to talk about seltzers and ciders. And at that time, I'll also be talking a little bit about my Cincinnati trip of hitting some breweries up there as well.
Finally, we can get to the Summer of Seltzers and Cider tour.
Finally.
Finally, the conclusion.
The conclusion.
Because I don't even know what happened during the tour, so we're going to have to find out.
I'm not sure either.
Hey, what is the point of this podcast today, by the way, Steve?
Well, hold on. What are you drinking, sir?
Okay. All right. Well, right now I've got this definitive brewing. It's called Timeless. It's an American lager. However, what I'm more excited about is this Zool PB&J mixtape Strawberry, which I haven't had yet.
Much sought after.
My buddy Armando gave it to me for helping him ship some beer, so this was my reward. So I can't look forward to that one.
Nice.
Chris, what have you got?
I am sipping on a Sierra Nevada Celebration ale. This is the 2024 version, and my favorite so far of all the celebrations that I've had this year. I think they really knocked it out of the park.
Isn't that the one Anthony Davis was talking about? They had changed in the past couple of years. Yeah, it used to be
quite different.
It's a hazy now, I think, or something. It's different than it was years ago.
Yeah, it's very good.
Well, hey, you know, we are talking on this podcast. We're going to talk about kind of go over what our top 10 beers were of 2024 because it's hard to believe that we're winding the year down. But before we do that, we have something else going on, right?
Okay. Yes. All right. We're looking at, we've each got 4 beers in front of us, and we're doing a blind tasting here. We know what the beers are. Chris, why don't you tell us what the beers are?
Yeah, they're not good.
They're not good.
This
is on purpose.
I'm looking forward to this, but we have the original tried and true Budweiser, aka Bud Heavy. We have a Busch Light. We have a Hams, which this
not left over from Thanksgiving.
Yeah, this might be my first foray into Hams.
Definitely
I'm not
mine
sure that
too.
I can remember a Hams before. And then last but not least, or last and least, Bud Ice, which I didn't know still existed.
Yep.
Honestly, that harkens back to my college days when the ice beer craze hit, Ice House and all those.
I think it's somewhere around 5.5–6% too. So it's. In those cans, we got the big 32-ounce cans, I think they're like $2.50. So a little bit goes a long way.
Right.
So when you hear us, I don't know, gagging somewhere during the episode, it's because we're drinking these beers. So we don't know what order they are. At the end of it, I think we're going to kind of pick or try to guess which is which.
Yeah.
So we're going to sample these and kind of taste them as we go, and God, Lord help us.
So are we trying number 1 first?
Let's do it. Let's do it right now.
All right.
Whatever number one is.
And we don't have to drink this whole thing.
Yes, we do.
I hope not.
It's important.
We have to drink this whole thing?
Yes,
no, we don't.
It's part of the criteria. You can't rate it if you don't drink it all.
First of all, I will tell you the color is pretty disgusting.
You see right through it.
Yeah.
You can see right through it. I feel like I'm hydrating right now.
Yes. Yeah, it's...
If you could see all the colors of the beers are exactly the same. Of all 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, I'm going to reserve my judgment because
that's right.
Thank God I have a chaser over here.
No cheating.
2 chasers.
All right, I'm done with my number 1.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Wow, you chugged it. You did drink the whole
I
thing.
did. I chugged it, and I'm even putting down what I think it is.
Oh, he already has a
Wow.
guess.
All right. You're way ahead of me. I'm gonna come back on that one.
I'm not coming back on anything. I'm just.
You don't want to revisit some of
I'm
these
just
lovely
moving
beers?
right along.
Hey, Brian, he's gonna need a refill because he's not sure.
We got some more.
We got more.
Yeah, we got more. We got more. Oh man.
All
So
right, that'll be fun.
we'll get over to number 2 in just a couple of minutes. But you know what? Let's talk about our let's go over like what our top 10 beers were for 2024. And since Chris is joining us today and has before, let's start with him first. So if you're going through a top 10 list, what would be like your number 10?
Yeah, so I went back through. I don't know how you guys revisited this. I went into Untapped and tried to look, and I had a lot of pretty highly rated beers this year that I had tried for the first time in 2024 or rated, I think, for the first time in 2024. A lot of 4.25s, so I tried to think back through which one. And spoiler, the one that I am drinking currently was my number 10, which is the 2024 Celebration Sierra Nevada. So that was my number 10 that I gave a 4.25.
All right.
Excellent, good beer, very very good beer. All right, Steve, what was your number 10?
My number 10 is an oldie but goodie. It is the Braxton Brewing out of Cincinnati, the Grater's Lemon Meringue Pie Sour, which was a 5% sour. I rated that as a 4.25 on Untapped, and I can tell you it's really good. So for people that aren't familiar, Grater's Ice Cream up there, they do collaborations.
That's right.
With Grater's. In fact, something I will talk about on the next podcast is the new brewery that just opened at Braxton, and Grater's is right next to their location in northern Kentucky. But I remember earlier this year when I was at Party Source up there, and there was a guy working there, and I looked at him. I said, "You got any good new stuff?" And he said, "You need to taste that lemon meringue pie." And so I got you a couple of cans. I got me a couple of cans. We had it when we had Jake Krause on from Braxton Brewing.
That's right, yes.
And I actually had it again when we did our Cincinnati tour and we were on the rooftop. In fact, when I was at Braxton, they had it still on their menu. I didn't get it at that time, but it's a really good beer. Little sweet, but not overpowering. And as we sometimes talk about, is it good for a flight? Is it good for a 12-ounce beer? I think so.
Good question. Yeah, because the cans we had were 12 ounces, and it wasn't too much at all.
Yeah.
No, those were good.
I would even consider getting it in a 4-pack or a 6-pack. I think it was that good, and it's not like really annoying.
I'll say this: it has less than 4 fruits, so I'll allow it. I'll allow it, Steve.
If it has less than 4 fruits.
Any listeners out there, if you know, you know.
All right. So what was your number 10 of the year, my friend?
All right, number 10, and you were there when I had this, Steve. It's from Fela Forest. It's the Fresh Hop Amarillo, which is New England IPA. It's when we did the podcast at Fela Forest with the Foamy Heads.
Yes.
Remember, he brought that out to us?
Excellent choice.
Yes. They have it was cryogenically frozen hops that they use, and they were fresh. And it was so good. He literally brought them out. They were still in the tanks. He poured them from the tanks, brought them out, and told us to keep them out of the sunlight because the sunlight would have turned them skunky quickly.
Oh, wow.
But that was my number 10, and that was a damn good beer.
And they just, as you said, they had just come out with that, right?
Yeah. They hadn't, like, it was either that day they had come out with it, or we had just got them. I think he poured it from the tanks. I mean, it was that fresh.
Wow.
So that's my number 10, and that was a good. Again, I give it a 4.3. It's at 6.7%. New England IPA. So
I had rated that as a 3.75, so not too far off.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Well, moving on to number 9 on my list, if we want to just keep doing a round robin here. I had Friendly Zombie from Crazy Gnome as my number 9. It's a black IPA. They also call it a Cascadian Dark Ale. Which anytime I see a black IPA, I'm always intrigued, and I've got to try it. And that one was excellent, as is most stuff at Crazy Gnome. So that was my number 9. It's Friendly Zombie.
Yeah, we're big fans of those guys. Look forward to seeing those guys or listening to them soon too. I think we're going to have him back on in January for his new location.
And I think I actually that day, was that one that we were there just recently? The Friendly Zombie, yeah, I had that. And at the time we had it, I rated that a 3.75 on Untappd. And I remember as you said, I really liked that as well.
Mm-hmm. Steve, what do you got for number 9?
All right, my number 9 is going to be, it kind of returns for almost another year. Blackstone Brewing, their pumpkin ale.
Yes.
Is there anything wrong with this beer?
No, I give it a 5 on Untappd, so it's perfect.
It is good. It is the best pumpkin I've had.
I've tried various variations of pumpkin beers this year, and Blackstone actually puts theirs out throughout the year. I think a little longer than some of the other ones. And this is, to me, this is some more of a traditional pumpkin ale. It's got that spicy kick, but it's not overpowering of a beer. I've rated this one, 4.25. On Untappd. It's a 5% beer, and I can tell you, I would definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, get this one on a 6-pack.
6-pack, 12-pack, 18-pack, whatever they come in. You're getting it.
Yeah, in fact, I went back. I had it a couple times this year, but the last time I had it was during their Oktoberfest event. Because,
they had it on draft.
Because we had so much National Fest beer, and it was kind of like, I'm going to go get something else this particular time.
It's good, and there's a reason it won gold medal at GABF. Wasn't this particular year, but last year. So that is a gold-winning, award-winning beer.
Right.
So question for you guys. You see a lot of pumpkin beers that come out along with the Oktoberfest beer.
Yeah.
Is pumpkin, is it in bounds as a Christmas beer, as a winter beer? Because to me it should be. Just like pumpkin pie is a Christmas thing as well.
I think it should be delayed. It should come out a little bit after Oktoberfest does. And Oktoberfest comes out too soon, as we know anyway. But I don't think it needs to come out at the same time. I think it should be delayed a little bit as it gets cooler. That's my opinion.
And I saw, because I can't really, not that I've taken notes in previous years, but I remember being at a grocery store when Sam Adams Oktoberfest came out, and that was the end of August, and already they had the pumpkin ale sitting right next to it. I'm like, this is a little bit too early.
Yeah. I mean, there should be a gap at least between those. Maybe not in the next season, but maybe halfway through the Oktoberfest season.
Well, and speaking of Oktoberfest, since I am drinking one, usually I would have been done with Oktoberfest by now, but since it was given to me a few days ago, and this was my last one, I'm like, got to finish off the season with a good one.
It's never a bad time to drink an Oktoberfest. I'll tell you, it's a bad time to drink this number 1 still again.
Yeah, keep going.
You got to finish that.
All
right. So my number 9, it's Hopfly Brewing Company. It's called Nimbus. It's another New England IPA. And I came across this. I actually bought it at Southern Grist. They had some kind of birthday party or something, and they had a lot of guest beers and stuff, cans of stuff you could sell. And this was left over, and I bought some of it. And man, it is fantastic. I gave it a 4.3, 7.5% New England IPA. So killer beer. Never even heard of Hopfly before.
Yeah, where are they out of? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll probably look that up. But it was a killer beer, and it definitely made my list. So it was. I don't think I've had a Hopfly since.
Yeah,
looks like Hopfly is from Charlotte.
There you go.
Yeah, Charlotte.
So maybe we'll find some more of their beer around here. But that was a killer friggin' beer.
All right.
Unlike number 1 here.
Well, moving on to the number 8 beer that you liked during the year, Mr. Finen. What was yours?
So my number 8 on my list was from Barrique, another local Nashville brewery. Their Swartz beer. Which I don't know if you've had their Swartz beer, but it is fantastic, and I actually enjoyed one of those earlier this evening again. So I'm revisiting a couple of my top 10 lists.
May the Schwartz be with you.
All right.
Yeah, and Barrique does everything they do. Everything they touch is amazing.
It is.
No question.
Mm-hmm. Whether it's the sours or that. I mean, they do all sorts of lagers and IPAs and that true sour stuff, barrel-aged sour stuff. It's like
highly recommend anybody coming through Nashville make a point to stop at Barrique, and you will not be sorry. You might be cold.
Yeah.
Their tap room is not necessarily conditioned, but
especially
which is good for beer, not so good for sitting around. But the beer is very enjoyable.
If it's 20 degrees outside, it's 20 degrees inside.
Yeah, or if it's 12 degrees.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've been there, haven't we, Steve?
We have, yeah. All right. Well, my number 8 was from Listerman Brewing in Cincinnati. This was called the Freedom Rye Toast. It's an Imperial Double Stout. It's a 10% beer. And I got this at a Marathon gas station, which I was just at a couple of days ago, and I will be talking about that on the next podcast.
Wow. I saw your pictures of that. Does not do it justice. Until I saw the pictures, I was like, holy shit, now I understand.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. But they actually had, I didn't bring it back again, but they actually had the Freedom Rye Toast there when I was there a couple of days ago. But this is what I had that I brought back last year that I had this year. And I rated this one a 4.25 on Untappd. This comes in a bottle, and really, it's kind of perfect for that, I think. It's not something I don't think you would want to drink all the time, but...
was it the bigger bottles that came in?
I got a little smaller ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you say the ABV on that one was?
On that one, the Freedom Rye Toast... I'm sorry, that is a 10% beer.
Yeah, because Listerman's they do a lot of that.
They do, but to be honest with you, I never knew until about a year or so ago that they did these kind of specialty bottles, and I just kind of came across it, and I went, I have got to get that.
That's awesome,
and that is.
I'm glad you got to go to this place too. Well, you've been before, I know, but to revisit that you just did for your Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah, and let me look up here. Because basically so the universal rating on this, by the way, Chris, is I rated it 4.25. Everyone else, the average is 4.19.
Well, you're right at it then.
Yeah,
you're right there.
And by the way, I've skipped out on what this beer actually contains in it.
What is it?
It's a stout with walnuts, maple, cinnamon, nutmeg, aged in rye whiskey barrels.
Wow.
Yes.
That sounds fantastic.
Yes.
I have not tried one of those, but I will seek one out.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
It's really good.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. So that was my number 8.
Okay. My number 8, Goose Island Beer Company, Bourbon County, which everybody knows what Bourbon County is. This was the Eagle Rare 2-year reserve. So we just had this at BBB, Jonathan's house. This was Stokes' bottle he brought. And man, it's an Imperial Stout from 2023, aged in an Eagle Rare barrel. I think it's 2 years. It's aged in the barrel for 2 years. I gave it a 4.3. It's 14.5%.
Wow.
It is lovely.
Yeah.
Now, I did not drink the whole bottle.
Yeah.
If you can imagine.
It's hard to drink the whole bottle when they get.
That's a sharing bottle.
It's a sharing bottle.
It's a sharing bottle, which is exactly what we did. But man, that was damn good. And it comes in a nice box, the Eagle Rare and the whole thing. So it's really cool. It's a nice presentation.
Nice.
But I mean, anything Bourbon County is usually pretty good anyway. So that was a killer friggin' beer.
Hey, before we move on to our number 7, should we try?
Yes, we should
another
do
one of our
blind
flights?
number 2.
Yeah. The blind flights test.
You know what? Yeah, the sooner the better.
All right.
I'd hate for these to get warm. They probably ruin the taste.
It'll make it even worse.
So this is number 2.
This is number 2.
Who wants to describe what we're drinking here?
Is there a nose? There's no nose.
This one is slightly darker than the last.
Doesn't really have much of a smell to it.
No.
It's worse than the first one, I can tell you that. Oh my God. That's just ugh.
That doesn't harken you back to your college days?
Oh my God.
Harken you back to wanting to find other beer
when you
in your
didn't care
college
what the
days?
taste was. It was just...
It tastes like the can was $2.50, I can tell you. I don't know which one.
Again, I feel like I'm hydrating.
The can probably added more flavor than the beer, actually.
Wow. Ooh. How do you even... Ugh. I think you'd have to already be hammered to start drinking this.
Yeah.
Shit, that's disgusting.
If I was sitting out on a beach and it was like 95 degrees or something, I could maybe handle that.
Maybe.
Yeah, and if they didn't tell you what it was either. They just said, hey, you look like you need a beer, Chris.
Yeah. Well, it's 95 and I'm sweating and I just need something to drink and that'll have to do.
All right. Well, I'm rating mine. What I think it is.
Okay.
Not good.
All right.
Woo.
All right. I'm gonna speculate here. All right. Shittier,
Yes.
shittiest. All right. It's
Not very good.
I think.
So moving on to number 7 on my list for actually
7.
good beer that I had in 2024.
Thank God we have chasers.
What I had on number 7 on my list was Ghost in the Machine from Parish Brewing. It is an Imperial IPA. It's about a 8.5% ABV, 100 IBU.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice and hoppy.
Nice and hoppy.
Yep.
You know, got a little kick to it. Really enjoyed that one. Had that at a bar in Houston, at a great Irish place down in Houston, and I had not had that before, but maybe it was just in the mood for it. But I rated it very highly. I thought it was very, very good.
Shit, yeah.
I would definitely seek it out again.
Ghost in the Machine, you called it?
Ghost in the Machine.
You're talking.
It's a great name too.
Before. That is a cool name.
It's good name of an album.
Ghost in the Machine.
Good name of an album.
Okay, I've actually had it too. I gave it a 3.75 back in 2023. So not long ago. Where the hell did I have it? Blue Canoe.
So you enjoyed it as well.
Oh yeah, I was in Tupelo, Mississippi. It was probably the best thing in Tupelo was that.
Or the only thing in
Or
Tupelo.
the only thing, beer or anything. That's a good beer though. I liked it. All right,
Steve, what did you have at number 7?
My number 7 comes from Zool.
Woo!
Yeah, buddy, in Knoxville. But I actually did not get this from Knoxville. This was their PB&J mixtape, the sour fruited. I felt like I won the lottery that night because I unfortunately have not had that much Zool.
Where did you have this one?
And I was a Deep South Growler.
Deep South Growler. So that was, do you know which jelly that one was? Probably the grape.
I'd have to look
I'm
that
guessing.
up. I'd have to look it up.
Because if it's the original, I think the original's grape. I'm not sure.
But yeah, when we walked in there that night, I looked up and I saw that it was on their tap list, and I thought, you know what, I have got to get this, and it looks pretty good. And it was pretty good, and so I'm looking here. Hold on, this was the this was the peanut butter and jelly gluten-free sour.
Ooh,
Yep.
gluten-free. It's probably better with gluten in it, but
So I rated it 4.25, and the global rating is a 4.46 on a tap.
wow, you're a little low on that one. You're
little
bringing
low.
it down. You're bringing the rating down.
But I thought it was the right combination of both.
Yeah.
It's a 6.5% beer. To me, perfect for a flight, half pour.
Yeah.
I would even do it on a 12 ounce.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big deal to find that on draft outside of Zool, and to have Deep South Growler have it just right up the street here is a big deal. Just to have that, because that thing, people stand in line out there when that shit releases at Zool.
No kidding.
Yes, for like hours until they open up. They did it for this one. They did it for the blueberry one. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
By the way, I have kind of an aftertaste on this last beer.
Yes, it is sticking. It is lingering for sure. You are right.
I do feel sorry for the Zool I'm about to open up as a chaser to this other
Yeah,
shit.
you might rate. You might have to revisit your
I
rating.
feel like Zool, you fucked this one up.
Scott, what was your number 7?
Number 7. Okay, this brewery will be no surprise to you. It's from Burial Brewing Company or Beer Company.
Yeah.
The name of it is These Are Profound Discoveries. Now wear as skin. I now wear as skin.
Okay. I was going to say, when you stopped, I thought, wow, that's a normal name. Unlike what most of theirs are.
I had it looked like I had a divider in the thing, so it's called These Are Profound Discoveries I Now Wear as Skin. I try to figure that one out. Yeah. I don't know, but it's an awesome beer. It's a New England IPA, 7.5%. Which, man, for Burial, that's the perfect 80.
Right in the sweet spot.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Anywhere at 7 to 8, maybe 8.5. They're just perfect for them. And
does it feel like a 7%
No,
beer?
no, none of them do.
Right.
But it's just, I don't know. It just having that ABV on those beers is perfect. If it's 4, it probably wouldn't be as good. Anyway, I gave it a 4.3. I got it in Raleigh when we were, as a matter of fact, when we were headed to the beach. I think I stopped and we picked it up in Raleigh. So, great beer, and you know I love that brewery.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome. Well, we'll move on to number 6. What was your number 6 beer of the year here, Mr. Finen?
I had, for number 6, I had Mountain Shadow Dry Irish Stout from Manitou Brewing.
Wow.
Out in Colorado. And it's a Irish
Manitou?
Dry, a Manitou.
A Manitou, yeah.
Manitou. But yeah, Irish Dry Stout. and I'm just a huge fan of Irish dry stouts, and it. I think we talked before on a podcast about Beamish that we had when we were over in Ireland, and just a wonderful Irish dry stout that you cannot get in the U.S. And so whenever I see Irish dry stout here, I've got to try it, and that was a good one, and it harkened me back to that and our great trip over there and having some Beamish. But very good. Manitou. If you get an opportunity out there in Colorado to go visit Manitou Brewing, it's a great little spot that we stumbled on, and fantastic beer, fantastic food, really, really good place.
I think we would all agree that we were on that trip. That was our favorite.
Definitely the highlight there out of many, many breweries that we did in the greater, Colorado, Denver, Fort
that was
Collins
kind of right
area.
outside of Colorado Springs, right? Kind of was it near Garden of the Gods and all that, and
that's right. Yeah, and I can't remember the name of the town that it was in, the small town that it was.
It was actually Manitou Springs.
Was it Manitou Springs? That's right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, quaint little town, which is cool as shit. So
great place. Highly recommend it.
All right.
And Stokes loves it because you can go there and get a man or two.
It's right up his alley.
All right, Steve. We're at number 6. What's your number 6?
My number
He'll
6.
appreciate that too, by the way, because that was a running joke.
I love it. My number 6, Zool, makes another return.
What?
I know it.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Look at that.
This was actually a can that you brought back for me from their brewery in Knoxville. And I had it just recently. It's called This Island Earth. You're going to laugh at this, Chris, because this was a smoothie pastry sour. I rated it a 4.25. So basically, this is a pina colada beer. It's a pina colada gluten-free smoothie sour with pineapple and coconut cream.
Is that organic and vegan as well?
If you remember, Amy,
gluten-free, organic, vegan smoothie pina colada, alcohol-free.
If you pour it in a glass, I don't know if you did, the remnants on the side of that glass are ridiculous.
There are pieces. You brought me a 16-ounce can. Yeah. Now, I want to preface something here. This goes into our conversations, and we've had a lot this year. What would you get this on? Would you get this on a flight? Would you get this a 12-ounce, a 16-ounce? 16-ounce was way too much for this beer.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
I liked it. It was way too much. 12 ounces was almost way too much.
Yeah.
This would be a good half pour. But even on a half pour, I mean, I got through most of it, and I said, man, I'm almost ready to tap out on this thing.
Yeah.
But I still liked it, and I still gave it a good rating. And by the way, again, the universal rating, since I checked in at 4.25, let's see, I have a couple friends that rated this. Scott rated it a 4. Stokes rated it 4.25.
He's fruity like that.
He's fruity. And the Untapped overall rating is 4.32.
Yeah.
All right.
So while it is a good beer, I think it's way, way too much for 16 ounces.
It is. And, I bought a 4-pack to bring back because I wanted people to try it because it's like it's just that unique. And again, the shit on the side of the glass. Like you'll never get those glasses clean. If that dries overnight and you don't rinse it out, you just throw the glass away.
In fact, I remember sitting on my porch and it was when was this, by the way? Because it was a pretty warm day out. So it was October 20th when I had this. So it was pretty warm out. And I remember thinking, this is a really crazy beer.
Yes.
I find it funny that we call that beer and what we're drinking at these blinds the same thing. Those don't sound like the same kind of beverage in any way, shape, or form as what we're drinking here in front of us with these blind tasting.
And surprisingly falls under the beer category.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a real good point.
Scott, what is your number 6?
All right, number 6. I'm happy to have these guys on here because they make one of the best beers in the world. So Russian River Brewing Company, and I had it at Great American Beer Fest, and it's...
Yes, give it up for Russian River.
All right.
Trace is a big fan of the Russian River. And you're probably going to think... You're probably going to think I'm going to say Pliny, and it is, but it's Pliny for President.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. They had a little tent, well, not tent, or booth, and they had several things. And we all had Pliny. We love Pliny. But they had the Pliny for President, which I had not had before then. So I gave it a 4.5. American West Coast IPA. It's beautiful. It's lovely. 7%, and I probably would have given it a higher rating had I had, say, a full bottle or something. We were just doing tastings, but even that was like, all right, that's making my list. And it sits at number 6. It's a damn good beer.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that one. I originally didn't have it in my list because I didn't log it in at GABF because it was information overload for me at GABF, and so I just gave up on trying to log in everything I was drinking there.
Yes.
But I did write that down as kind of an honorable mention, and I figured since I didn't have a whole pint of it, maybe I would leave it out of my list. But it was fantastic.
It is. And we made a point, when we got to GABF, we made it a point to get to the Russian River tent first because that line forms and it never lets up when it gets in there. So we'll stand in line for 2 or 3 minutes before everybody gets in here. We'll get that and then we'll knock it out and then we'll do the rest of it, which is exactly what we did.
Yeah, and it seems like, having Pliny, because we can't get it here this side of the Mississippi too often unless we have it bootlegged by our friend Nicole and Brian bringing it back. Shout out for that. But, so I always think that I have it built up in my head that it's not going to be that good. And then I have it, and it lives up every time.
Yep.
And the Pliny, and then this one even more so.
Yeah.
That's the ones you got to love when you don't expect it, and then you're like,
oh, yeah. When it's, it's one of those things you can't get, so you hear about it. Now it's when you start the whiskey, the bourbon thing, you got to get Blanton's, and then you get it. It maybe doesn't live up. Pliny does.
It holds up.
Yes, you can never have too much of that. That I'll take a 6-pack of that in the giant bottles too. By the way,
if anybody's coming back from the West Coast and you got a little extra room in your luggage, just throw some in for us.
Throw a little Pliny or 2 in there, please.
There you go. So moving on to number 5.
Oh my God,
Chris,
we're
what you got?
top 5.
Oh, top 5. So I had, again, local. I had a lot of local on my list here. So I have Keeper of My Soul from Broadcast Brewing as my number 5. It's a porter. And, again, I think my ratings are influenced by kind of the situation and, great little tap room that had just opened up. And we made the long trek up the hill from the soccer stadium here in Nashville up to broadcast before the game to do a little pregame, but it was fantastic. Great, love what they're doing at broadcast, and it really, really good. So made my top 5.
All right, awesome.
Steve, we have to get you over there still yet.
Yeah, that is like the one brewery in Nashville that has eluded me. I have not been to Broadcast Brewing, and I'm hoping around the holidays to get there. So yeah.
It's a little out of the way if you're not over there, but it's certainly doable. So you can get over there. Mike's a good, nice guy.
Definitely. Well, my number 5, I have said this, that they have given me hope in the IPA world.
Oh,
this is Great Lakes Brewing.
Yeah, baby.
Out of Cleveland, Ohio. The Vivacious Double IPA. I rated this a 4.25. It's a 9% beer. I can tell you, and Scott, you've had it too. Mm-hmm. This thing does not taste like a 9% beer. I mean, you're drinking a 16-ounce can, and it's like, is this really 9%? I mean, it's that good.
It's a gorgeous beer. I mean, again, if that were 5% beer, it wouldn't be as good. The 9% is perfect for that beer.
Yep, and so basically, they obviously say it's hoppy, which it is, but it's a good hoppy. It's got a little bit of fruit in it, a little bitter. But I like these particular ones more than, say, the West Coast IPAs. Great Lakes, they had given us a couple of them. Their Midwest IPA, which even when we had them on the podcast, he was even talking about the difference, and I could taste the difference. I mean, to me, when I taste their Midwest IPA and then I taste the Vivacious, I could just taste from myself what I'd like more in an IPA.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's definitely got some citrus and something in there. It's like it's juicy. It's really
a little more juicy than what you're used to from some of the older traditional ones. And so the universal rating on this is 3.88.
Would you end up giving it?
4.25.
Yeah. Trendsetter, baby. Trendsetter. Bring the average up.
He's ruining the curve.
I'm telling you what.
It's because the other people rating it don't know how good it is. They don't understand.
Well, Scott rated it 4.10.
Yeah, so see, I'm up there.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a great beer.
All right.
What'd you have for number 5, Scott?
Number 5 is another Goose Island Bourbon County Stout from 2021. I actually had it aging in the fridge for a few years. And Steve, this was the same day we did over at Fela Forest. Mm-hmm. We did the podcast. So we did the podcast, and then we got done, and we brought a bunch of beer, and he let us kind of drink it and share it inside.
Yeah.
So this was one of them, and this was This is 14%. Seems to be a theme. And, and I gave it a 4.5. It's another Imperial Stout, and I think those beers are good fresh, but you let them age a couple of years, man, they just get, and they're meant to be aged too at 14%. So
yeah, 14.
My God, they're just so damn good. We're sitting around sharing it, and like, whew, that is just fantastic.
Yeah, I still view anything Goose Island as a Blackhawks beer, and so just categorically, like nothing above a 2.0 on any list. I just categorically just can't.
I know.
I can't wrap my brain around.
I do separate it. Like the IPAs and that stuff. Like we used to always get at Bridgestone. I do divide it. I think it differently from those than these Bourbon Counties because these are like, okay, these are acceptable for Chicago.
We'll allow it. We'll allow it.
But I mean, again, anything fucking Bourbon County. That Bourbon County series is amazing. It's the stuff you get. Like they drop it every year on Black Friday. It's a big event in every liquor store in every town in America. It's a huge deal.
Yep.
So great beer.
All right, I think it's time to move to number 3 on the blind.
I was hoping we'd forget.
Oh, here we
number
go.
Number 3 crap beer.
What are we describing this one?
Shittier.
Yeah, still pretty clear.
Oh yeah.
Oh God! Right off the. Oh God. That is. Ugh.
Yeah.
I think I know what
I'm not even going to smell it. I'm just going to drink it.
Oh, it's bad. The nose on it is just horrendous.
God damn. Wow.
Not sure.
Whose idea was this?
I'm not sure I can finish that one.
Yours?
I think I suggested blind. He suggested getting crappy beer.
I thought it would be kind of funny. I don't know if it's funny.
I wonder if licking the marker off this tape.
I'm not sure my hangover tomorrow is going to be all that funny, Steve.
I can't drink anymore. I'm not. My mind is made up.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, first of all, 3 of the 4 of these are Anheuser-Busch. So that says a lot. And I'll make apologies to Anheuser-Busch if they ever come on, which I don't anticipate. You guys, this sucks.
They're brilliant business people.
Yeah.
Maybe not craft artists.
Those beers are meant for certain people.
Yeah.
And
we aren't one of those people.
We are not. There's a reason they're still making them, though. So
we aren't one of those people.
If I'm going to kill some brain cells and dedicate those, I'm going to do it with something worth drinking.
I'm drinking a peanut butter and jelly beer. This is fantastic.
Well, it makes for an entertaining podcast. So, all right, we'll move on to number 4. What you got there, Chris?
So my top 4. So once again, keeping it local here with Marble Fox and the Blended Illusion Blackberry, which they list as a milkshake IPA. And it's been a while since I've had it. I don't remember the milkshake aspect of it, to be honest with you. And I am not a big fan of when they put lactose in. It's not, so I imagine that's not in this beer, but it is listed as a milkshake IPA.
Okay.
But I had it rated at a 4.25, and I'm a real big fan of everything that Marble Fox is doing.
Right out of the gate, that brewery has been fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, everything they do, and they just keep getting better. They've done a peanut butter and jelly beer too. I think we've all had it, hadn't we?
Yeah.
No crust.
Yeah. That was the one that
Uncrustables.
Yeah, that was the one that I had. That it was in 16-ounce can, and I just went, "It's too much."
That was too much. Yeah,
it's too much. I couldn't taste the peanut butter in mine. All I tasted was like jelly, and I kept thinking, "Where's the peanut butter?"
Yeah. They've done a couple iterations, and I think they're still dialing it in. But they do. I mean, everything they do is fantastic. I love their IPAs.
Yeah,
great job. Everything they do.
Yep.
We love the place.
And I will say, looking at the global ratings on that is 4.07. Scott Touron gave it a 3.6. So pulling the curve down.
I'm bringing them down.
Going against the grain a little bit on that one.
Take my beer card away from me.
Okay.
There was only one fruit in that.
I'm relegated to drink this shit from now on because I apparently don't know.
Wine aside. 1 o'clock. All right.
Note to self: bring the rating up on that beer.
Well, my number 4 of this year, Great Lakes coming in again.
Yeah, baby.
Imagine that. Yes, this is the Juicy Vivacious Double IPA.
I love this one.
Imperial Double, rated this a 4.25. Again, this is a 9.5% beer. Does not taste or seem like a 9.5%.
A half a point higher than the Vivacious. Yeah.
Yeah. And basically what I put on here is it is my new favorite IPA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That one has got a lot of flavor.
It has convinced me that I can drink more IPAs.
IPA guy right here.
Yeah, I started to like more this year, and this one put me a little bit over the top. And yeah, I would definitely do this on a pint if I was out ordering.
Yeah.
And we got a couple cans anyway.
Yep.
So,
yeah, good stuff. Steve IPA Sullivan.
That's it. He's coming around.
Well, and Scott rated this a 4.47 on Untapped, and pretty much the universal rating is a 3.90. So
wow, we're above.
Far.
Yeah, we do love that beer.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like it was really. It's hard to believe it was better than Vivacious, as good as Vivacious was. You know, but I'm right there with you. I put that up high too.
I actually rated them the same, but you know, I would maybe say that the Juicy one, you know,
just
you're cutting hairs. But yeah.
But you like it just a little better. I get it. Yeah, I agree with you because I like that one just a hair better than regular Vivacious.
All right. What's your number 4?
Number 4 is from Treehouse Brewing Company. I think they're out of the Boston area. It's called Super Treat, and it's a double IPA. I got it in a beer trade. I gave it a 4.5, and it's an 8.3% beer. So,
wow.
Anything you get from Treehouse, and I've had a few of them, they're like Burial in that sense, where just everything is it's an all-star. Like everything they come out as an all-star beer. I wish we were closer to them. I wish you can only basically get them in beer trades because you can't get it down here. So you got to know somebody up that way.
I got you.
So, but yeah. So that's my number 4.
All right, good deal. We're moving on to number 3, Chris.
So yeah, looking at my top 3, you know, again, I think I'm influenced by, you know, the situation when I had a beer, because my number 3 is actually Morocco Casa beer.
Okay.
Well, I had this at Epcot, drinking around the world. It was like 100 degrees, and we were in the Moroccan area and had a great meal there, and the beer just hit the spot. And so I probably overrated it. It's one I will probably never revisit because I'm sure I probably can't find it. I can't even pronounce the name of the brewery. I don't know. There's tildes and I don't know. There's all kinds of letters and stuff that I'm not going to try to pronounce. But you know, straight Helles Lager hit the spot that day, and so I probably overrated it, honestly, as I look back now. But you know, sometimes it's you're affected by all those things when you're half drunk and logging things in.
Yeah.
So.
I gotta love it.
Like later on the night after I get to the whiskey and stuff, I'm gonna go back to these 4 and probably rate them much higher than I know. I'm kidding. There's no way in hell.
Even after whiskey?
There's no way in hell.
Oh.
I can't even choke down number 3. Man.
Yeah. There's plenty left for anybody that wants whatever's left of number 3.
Over.
So, yeah, I think we need to rate these after we find out what they are. We need to get on and actually rate them in Untappd.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Is there a -0?
Well, you could just
-10?
You could give it a 1/10 of a point. I think it's the lowest rating without you know, if you rate it.
You can't
without
do a 0.
Rating. Right. You just don't rate it then.
So, who's your bronze medal winner? Your top 3 here?
Well, I'm a little predictable on this one, but I'm going with Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
He's in good company, or they're in good company.
I mean, I know they're a commercial beer out there, and they sell a lot of Oktoberfest, and they're one of the first to do it, but every year I'm excited to get it. Now, this year I only bought a 6-pack. In years past, I've bought more, and one year I left some at your house, Chris. But
he's going to want it back.
Yeah, it is not there anymore.
Is it still there? No, but you know, there because we did a couple of Oktoberfest episodes this year and wanted to try a different variety. So I was standing at Publix. I went there. It was like the last day of August. knowing that they would probably have it. And I walked in there and I was like, yep, I'm getting it. It might be too early. But.
Can I ask you this? Mm-hmm. And I know it's a good beer because I like that beer too. It does, kind of to Chris's point, how he rates some of his beers. Is it part of that because it's becoming Oktoberfest season and the season has changed? Is that part of what's included in your rating? Or is it just the beer itself?
Well, so I'm going to try not to not answer your question, but I kind of feel like maybe I should do a whole separate list for Oktoberfest alone because it's a little unfair because I don't know. I think Sam Adams gets it right when it comes to Oktoberfest. And so if I'm rating my beers and if Untappd is if we're judging things on, I rate Sam Adams Oktoberfest a 4.50.
Yep. No, it's great. And when you can, that's one of those beers where if you go anywhere and it's on tap, you just get it.
Yeah.
You're gonna because it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe next year if we do this again, I might just need to put an asterisk next to it.
Right, sure is. You can do whatever you want. That's right. All 10 can be Oktoberfest.
All 10.
It's your world, Steve. It's your world.
It's my world. That ain't going to happen. But no, so there you go. Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
You can do whatever you want.
Comes in number 3 for
All
me.
right.
The bronze medal.
Wow. All right, that's high praise.
Yep.
All right, so Steve, I couldn't have you be the only one that had Zool on his list. So number 3 for me is Zool out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's the PB&J mixtape. But the blueberry one, which is the one we got over at Southern Grist that day for their melted snow cone day that we went over to.
I remember that, and I got to be honest, Chris, you could appreciate this. So we went there for that, and I think that was either my second or third one that I had on a flight. Oh man, it got too much.
They are.
It was too much.
The snow cone stuff.
Yeah. Oh. Well, back to back because there were 3 of them. One was like a coconut or something. Oh, yeah. And then when we had that, and they were all good, but it got to the point, and it was a really warm day, and it just got to the point where it was like, this is just way too much back to back.
They are sweet.
Too much sweetness, even on a flight.
Yes,
but it was still good.
It was good, but you're right.
That's kind of one of them circumstances, right?
It was. If it was anything bigger than the tasters we got, we'd have given up because it can be too much. So. So I gave it a 4.5. It's a 6.5% ABV on that thing. So do love the mixtape and that blueberry. As a matter of fact, when we got this, the day before it released in Knoxville, they were standing in line for 2 hours to get this blueberry one. We were over at Southern Grist and just rolled up and just got it.
Yeah,
it was great. So great. Somehow those two collaborate. They're buds or something. Southern Grist and Zool seem to be.
I just remember that day though because we got there. It was like 1 o'clock and it was already almost like 95 degrees outside, and they were serving them outside.
And Steve got recognized by his voice.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Nice. Somebody walked by. Hey, you're the podcast guy. I swear to God, he did.
It's famous.
Yes.
There you go.
Steve. All right. Well, I think before we go to the top 2, we gotta polish off number 4 of the blinds here. And get it over with.
Let it end.
Yeah.
Glad we didn't do more than 4.
Let it end. How are we describing this one?
I don't know. It's is it a fraction darker than the other?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
It's a little darker.
It's closer to urine color.
It doesn't smell as bad as the last. The number 3 had some stank to it.
Okay.
Yeah. It tastes like shit beer.
Yeah.
They really nailed it.
Mirror, mirror on who's the shittiest beer of them all.
You know that song, I Got a Tear in My Beer? Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
You know, the funny thing, I thought I could have picked out Budweiser easily from this other lineup. I cannot.
Yeah.
What?
All right.
This is, okay. God damn it.
So yeah, put what your guesses are, and then we'll have our judging panel.
All right, so
let us know. I'm second guessing mine a little bit, but I'm gonna stick with my original gut, which is
I'm just going with my gut,
the rot gut that I have now from drinking those 4 beers.
All right, so we're turning in our quiz.
Yeah, we'll get the results here.
We'll get the results.
Oh my gosh.
So number 2
You're not the father.
Yeah. You are not the father.
Yeah.
The worst beer ever.
Okay.
Number 2 on my list, I had a Harvest Moon from OCC Brewing.
What? Oh, yeah.
Where's that? Where are they located?
That
was on our Denver trip.
It was.
Okay.
I
think it was Colorado Springs.
Colorado. Yeah, I can't remember if they were in Aurora.
Yeah, you're right.
But it was a Dunkel wheat beer.
Oh, okay.
Very, very good. So that made number 2. And we had a great trip out there. A couple days before, we went to GABF and hit a lot of the local craft breweries in and around Aurora, and then Colorado Springs.
Didn't we hit the Goodwill store just before we going into there? Like, it was next door to it.
That's right.
We were looking for beer T-shirts.
And I got a $2.99 Colorado Rockies shirt.
That's right.
So, that's about all I would pay for a Colorado Rockies shirt, to be honest with you.
Somebody else didn't want it at all because they turned it in.
Right.
I actually found an I Believe in Nashville shirt there.
Did you?
Yes. Brand new. Somebody did not believe it
Brand new. Oh, yeah, they weren't believing it.
They did not believe.
And they took it all the way to Denver and said, no.
Yeah.
They came for a bachelorette trip and wound up puking all the way home on the plane, and then was like, I no longer believe in Nashville. Give this shit to Goodwill.
Wow.
It's kind of goes in terrible memory.
Love it.
Shit, okay.
I'm sure there's a whole story behind that. How that wound up in some store in Colorado Springs.
They probably wrote a song about her.
Somebody must have, yeah, definitely.
Oh, good. All right, Steve, what do you got for number 2?
My number 2 is going to be the Southern Grist here, the peanut butter and strawberry Jelly Hill, the sour fruited.
Very nice.
Man, I love this thing. It's actually the second year in a row that I've rated it a 4.50. I just think it's fantastic. I actually had it twice. So I had it at the brewery, and then I had gone. It was funny, though. I went to Mr. Brews in Murfreesboro, and I got it there, and it had a slightly off taste, but I still rated it the same.
Yeah.
But it didn't taste exactly the same. Does that make sense? I don't know why either.
It could be the equipment. It could be how old it was. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you have before it?
But it's certainly not anything against them or anything like that. But no, I look forward to this thing that comes out every year, and I think of all of us that have had like the peanut butter and strawberry, or peanut butter whatever. I think Southern Grist has the best one.
It's
great.
Zool
ranks right up there. I think Grist is better than Marble Fox, the one they do, but this is one I would definitely get. I would get this in a 6-pack.
Yeah. And it is exciting when you see it on the shelf when it comes out again. Oh, my God, there it is.
By the way, Chris is dying over here after all these.
Yeah, that number 4 might have put me over the edge. That was a rough of our blind here.
Would you like some whiskey to wash it down with?
Yeah. I have a nice Nashville Brewing Company Fest beer that I'm trying to wash away.
This is why back in the day when we drank this kind of beer, we had so many bad hangovers and headaches the next day.
Yeah, the fact that we still drink
better beer and you will feel better the next day.
Oh, my gosh.
It is a life lesson that every young drinker needs to learn.
Yes, quality and quantity.
Yeah, cheap isn't always better, that's for sure. No. Scott, what is your number 2?
All right, my number 2 is from Trillium Brewing Company.
Nice. Another Boston one. We've been to Trillium. We were up there a couple years ago. I got this in a beer trade. It's called Really Big Bird. Really big bird. Like bird, like middle finger?
It's got like a bird. It's got like an eagle face on the thing.
I
gotcha.
I got it in a beer trade. Matter of fact, from Brew Dude, West Virginia, Nick, that we know. So 9%, gave it a 4.6. Just, my God, so good. Again, Trillium, Burial, Treehouse.
Can do no wrong.
No, and they just make those double IPAs. It's so damn good, and the quality's there, and every single thing they do. So that one just stood out, and I had it, and I was like, oh, shit, this is 4.6. That is incredible. I mean, that's a high rating, especially for me. So that was my number 2.
Not surprising from Trillium. They really do great stuff.
Yep. When we made that Boston trip, we hit 2 or 3 of them because they had little pop-ups around town. And man, I remember having a lager or a Pilsner or something they had that was so damn good.
Yeah. They got a great place at that Time Out. That's kind of a little bit of a food court place, and then they have an outdoor Trillium area there, and live music going. And,
That was a cool spot.
That was great. Yeah. All right. Well,
All right.
Here we go.
Drum roll.
Number one.
yeah. So my number one, again, keeping with the home team here with Barrique. Again, their Petite Table Grape. My first fruited beer, I guess, that I have on my list. But Farmhouse Ale, Saison, fantastic. Their table grape, it's really, really outstanding, just like everything that Barrique does. So that topped my list for 2024. What about you, Steve?
Okay, we've got.
All right, just let's go through your number one.
Okay, we're going to go through our number ones, and then,
Yeah, then we'll come back.
and then we got our rating.
I should rate. Okay, you're asking us to rate these?
Yes.
Okay.
Rate the shitty beer.
All right. God. Okay. All right, we'll do that. All right. Okay. All right, Steve. What is your number one?
Oh, my number one.
Drum roll.
So this one kind of surprised me. It was just sort of like I found it by accident. And it's Founders Brewing Ultimate Oktoberfest.
Yes.
Holy cow, man. So when we were going to do our Oktoberfest episode and I walked around and I'm looking for Oktoberfest beer, I just happened to look on a shelf and I saw that and I went, man, that looks like something different because it's barrel aged. I had never had barrel aged Oktoberfest before.
And I saw that too. I don't think I've ever seen one before.
No. And Chris, it comes in bottles. I absolutely loved it. I rated this a 4.75 on Untapped. It's a 9.4% beer.
Woo!
And yeah, I would definitely get other bottles of this.
You would. So that would be you'd get a 4-pack or something
yeah.
of it just to have them.
Yeah.
Would you say the ABV was?
It's 9.4%.
So something like that you could actually age. Like you could put a couple
Yeah.
back in the fridge
Yeah.
and even have it next year
Yeah.
and kind of come back to it and see if it got better or worse or whatever. So.
All right. Now, I don't think this is something that I would sit around drinking all day unless I was at my house.
Yep.
But if I was out and about, maybe one in the afternoon, maybe one in the evening or something like that.
You're like, yep. Something to look forward to. For
yeah,
real,
that's my
for
number
sure.
one.
Okay.
So
that is
my
amazing.
number one.
That's amazing. Okay. My number one, I'm going to turn my ratings in here. So my number one, again, no surprise, is from Burial Beer Company called Timid Little Tyrant. It's a double New England, and that's all the name on that one. It's just three words on that one, which is a short name for beer. Timid Little Tyrant. It's a double New England IPA hazy. I gave it a 4.8. Wow. It's another 8% beer. Just blew them. I don't remember. Oh, Burial. I don't know where I got it. I wrote down in Asheville, but I haven't been in Asheville, so I must have got it in Raleigh or something. But anyway, fantastic beer. I wish I had 1 million of them. It's that damn good. So, and funny, as I'm going through my Untapped list, I had a lot of burials that kind of hung around that 4.2, 4.3, and I picked out a couple but a lot of them are in those ranges. So the whole list could have been burial for,
Oh yeah,
for that. So, but I wanted.
Yeah, my whole list could have been Barrique.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yep.
But I feel like if anybody's a Spotify user, they just dropped like your year in review.
Yeah.
And it's all Untapped should do a similar thing. And that automatically just kind of generates all these. Here's the beer you had the most. Here's the beer
They
and do those things.
They do. There's a year. They do a year in review.
I did not get my year in review.
I haven't seen it yet, though.
Okay. Oh, it's too soon. Maybe.
Maybe it's too soon. Yeah.
Okay.
Although usually they do it with like a month left to go, and then because you still have a month, and then they'll do another one after the year's over. Maybe they'll just do the one after the year's over. Now
I got you.
There's
30th or 29th.
It is fun because they do it like a million stats. Just like look at the stats
those
and
stats are really interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, I do want to say that the good beers that I've been drinking, the West Side Oktoberfest that I previously, about 3 years ago, rated about a 4.25 on Untapped, I would give it about the same.
Still the same?
It's still good. It's
Excellent.
Still good. Yeah.
Well, I will say this. If I had this PB&J strawberry before I created this list, it might be on this list
Might be on the
somewhere.
list.
It's
Might
that
be on
damn
the
good. But I'm going to hold with what I got.
I will say of our blinds, if anybody wants some number 3, there is some left over here. And my backwash probably makes it better.
Probably.
So
because the other beer you're drinking is probably a little bit got in
God,
there.
And it's rough.
It is.
I'll tell you what, we don't even have to cap it or anything. Just leave it like it is. I don't think it won't get any worse. It could get flat. It won't matter.
Get worse.
Scott, you and I actually, we came up with some criteria too. We had some notes about some other beers.
Yeah, just some funny, maybe some funny stuff, some random things. I think Chris has got a few ideas too. And we don't have the same list, but we just kind of had some random shit we wrote down.
Yeah.
So once you've read a couple things you got written down there.
Okay, so here's a beer that I rated higher than in previous years. The National Fest beer. Imagine that, right?
Yes.
As I've evolved again on certain beers. I hadn't had this for probably
Chris is drinking it right now.
He's got it right now. I hadn't had this in a few years. And I would say about 4 years ago, I rated this a 3.50. I now rate it a 4.
Yes.
So I think it's really good.
Before you go further, I've done the same thing with that exact beer this year. I have moved that up to a 5. I've got like 5 5s now. That Fest beer, no, I'm sorry. No, it is. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, it is. I've got it up to a 5 now.
Yeah.
So yes, because that beer is that damn good.
There's some unique beers that I tried this year, hoping that I would like. And I did. This one was from Hoppin' Frog Brewery.
Nice.
It was a smashing pecan blonde ale. I actually didn't think I would like this all that much. I thought, it's going to be way too sweet.
Smashing.
And it wasn't. I rated it as a 4 on Untapped, and I think I'm still going to say this is my most favorite beer of the year for many reasons. Mitten Brewery in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The peanut, right? The peanuts and Cracker Jack Porter that I got on a flight.
Yeah.
And it's a 6% beer. I rated it a 4 on Untapped. I bet if I had it again, I'd probably rate it higher. I would love to try this on a 12 or 16 ounce, just to see if I would like it more than that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was. I just thought it was great.
The name of it just sounds great.
Yeah.
And that might be the perfect style to have a Cracker Jack thing. It's maybe a porter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's my question. Outside of the 4 blind beers that were horrible that we just had, what was your lowest rated beer this year?
Okay, can I say one that I wouldn't rate that I only had 2 sips
you
of?
didn't even rate it.
And actually, Scott, you're going to have to listen to the next podcast for me to talk about another beer that I had when I was in Cincinnati. I'm going to wait till our Cincinnati correspondent Liz comes on because she was with me when I had it, and I didn't finish it. And she said, "You don't have to finish that beer."
It was that bad?
It was that bad.
God.
All right.
Well, don't forget.
I'm not forget it.
Before you guys start, he can give results, and then you guys can talk about how you rated them.
We got our results.
Oh yeah, well go ahead and finish. What was the beer you logged in?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll end on that.
That was the worst.
Our producer over here has got on mic. I don't like it.
All right. So I put this as the worst tasting beer of the year for me.
All right.
I didn't even rate it because I said I can't do it. The Steel Brewing Spicy Pickle Sour Beer.
Can't imagine why you didn't like it, Steve.
It was beyond awful. Like, I took 2 sips of this, and I just went, no. I can't have any more. I can't drink anymore. The dill pickle sour that I had was all right. The spicy one, I'm going, you've got to be kidding me.
It is straight pickle juice. It's like you took it out of a dill pickle juice.
I didn't rate it because I don't know what I would rate it. What would I rate it?
Out of pickle beers, there's a lot of range of pickle beers, and dill pickle beers I actually enjoy.
Yes.
Sweet pickle beers, just like sweet pickles, I can't stand. And we had some at GABF, and I don't remember because I didn't log it in, but we had one that was a sweet pickle beer, and it was awful. And it was on top of about 100 other beers that I had, and sloshing together. So that one doesn't sound good.
No, the spicy. No, it was rough. I mean, I was at my house, and I took 1 sip, and then I took another. And I can count on my hand, like, the number of craft beers that I've had over time that I would have, like, 3 or 4 sips. There was just one in Cincinnati. I'll talk about it next podcast. Tease. That I just went, no, I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't do the rest of this. But there's another one, beer that I tried I didn't think I would like. So Urban Artifact does a lot of sour beers up there. And this one was bought from me, I believe. Maybe Scott had bought it. I don't know. It was the small batch Operation Plowshare coffee and donut fruit beer, and I really didn't think I would like it.
Yeah.
It was an 8% beer, and I actually rated it 4.0 on tap.
Yeah, because you're not a big coffee fan at all, or anything coffee flavored. So the fact that you liked that one was a huge surprise.
Yeah, it was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the lowest rated beer I had in 2024, I remember I had it when I was in Houston, and I ordered it, and it was awful. I gave it a 2.0. It was a Fireman's Number 4.
You son of a bitch. He did it, and he's trying to get my attention.
I was trolling Scott, and I literally, I know that's one of his favorite beers. In fact, that might be one of his only 5.0 beers that he's rated.
It is.
And so I wanted to see how closely he was paying attention, and so I logged it in with a 2.0, and then I texted friends and said, I'm trolling Scott, see how long it takes. And the answer was a couple hours. Actually, I was surprised.
Wow.
I know, I think I liked it.
Chime in.
Didn't I go back and comment on it afterwards?
Yeah, you did.
I was like, wait a minute, what the hell?
What the hell?
Well, I think I got to thinking about it. I was like, Chris, you've had this beer before. Why now is it a 2?
His dad got me a 12-pack of that for Christmas this past year. And I just, because, had so many different beers this year, I had one left that was sitting in my refrigerator, and I drank it a few weeks ago. Now, I think I rated about a 4 on Untappd. I'm not there at a 5.
Yeah, I'm standing behind my 2.0.
You're
Out of spite.
that rating, they like they're riding high on this rating. All this son of a bitch just comes in with a 2 and just tanks it.
So this is why brewers hate Untappd.
Exactly
because there's dumbasses like me that'll mess up all the ratings just to fuck with my friend.
See, you do the opposite. Most people say I hate IPAs and give low. I love IPAs and I love this beer, but I'm giving it a 2 anyway. Just. That's a funny story.
Scott, you and I talked about...
That's a desert island beer for me, by the way.
I know. You had talked also about rating your highest ABV of the year. Now, I remember when I rated this, I was at home, and Scott messages me, and he's like, where are you? You're rating such a high beer. And it was it was the Founders Brewing. It's the KBS Spicy Chocolate. It was a double Imperial Stout, 12%.
Sexual chocolate.
Yeah, sexual chocolate to the stage.
They do play so fine.
I thought it was pretty good. I rated it 4 on Untappd. I liked it.
I know. I remember you checking it in. I was like, where are you to have that ABV that high? Like, the hell are you?
Yeah. There you go.
That's a good one. All right.
Some notes on beers from me this year.
Okay. Well, I got a couple similar things to you. So I put my highest ABV on there, and it's one I already mentioned. It's that Bourbon County Stout by Goose Island, the 2021, which is at 14%. So that was my highest ABV of the year. Ooh. I won't say it doesn't drink like it, because it kind of does.
Yeah.
But it's so goddamn good. It's so good. And I had a couple random things on here. So I had one like my favorite beer name. And the only reason I even wrote it down is because when I was flipping through to do research for this thing, I came across it. So it's by Abomination Brewing Company. It's called And Hey, Fuck 2023 too. I don't know why. I don't know why they called it that, but I liked it. And I actually liked the beer. I gave it a 3.8 rating. It's a 9.7% triple IPA. So,
wow.
By Abomination Brewing. So,
kudos to them.
It was like, yes. And hey, fuck 2023 too. It's like good. And real quick, the worst tasting beer. Steve, you were there. Was at Sonder.
I like this one, by the way.
It's oh my god, it's called See Me Rolling, and it was like a cinnamon roll kind of thing. And I gave it a 3.5 on Untappd because I'd rated it when I first started drinking it, and it just fell off a cliff.
Did you get that? You said you got it on like a 12. Was that a 12-ounce beer you got?
It was a pint. I got a full pint of it.
Oh, see, I got that on a flight.
No, I got a full pint of it.
And I liked it.
As a matter of fact, when Brian showed up, I just gave him the rest of it. I was like, here, you drink this. I cannot.
Hey, Mikey.
You'll like it.
It was bad. I don't know. There was just something about. I don't know if if it was coming from a chemical taste or something. I did not like it. So,
well, any big surprises? Like I picked out my most surprising beer of one that I didn't think because it sounded horrible at the time, but it was called Zesty Ranch Taco by 903 Brewers, and it's a cream ale. And I'll be honest with you, and I had it at GABF, so I only had a taster of it. It tastes like Cool Ranch Doritos in a glass. And that kind of sounds disgusting, and it really wasn't. And I actually thought, boy, I could do a whole pint of this. And I was really surprised by that because I was like, I just got to try it because it just sounds horrendous. Yep. It was really good. It was well balanced. It wasn't super salty, but it had kind of good spice to it. It was very balanced and surprisingly good.
It tasted exactly like it says.
Exactly like it says.
See, I like that kind of stuff, yeah.
Well, Porch Beers were at JBF the day before we were, and they recommended it. You guys have to go over the 903 table, which is what we did to get that thing, because it was towards the end of the night. We finally got over because the line had finally died down a little bit. And they had another one, too. I think it was a peanut butter cup or something.
Yeah, they had a barrel-aged peanut butter cup, which was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's always the great thing when you're actually tasting what it says it is, but it's not overly annoying. And that's how I felt like when the Peanuts and Cracker Jack Porter, because I'm going, man, that thing could have been really awful.
Yeah.
And I'm going, they got this perfectly right. Yeah. So it's cool when you find that kind of thing.
It really is.
So I think we need to get the results of our blind crap beer tasting.
Judge,
do we have?
What you got for us?
All right. So to rehash, we had on the list what we're drinking was in no particular order: Hams, Busch Light, Bud Ice, and Budweiser. Okay. So,
would you like me to speak?
Go ahead.
Yes. Brian. Get Brian on the microphone. This is Brian Carter.
All right.
Our official judge.
So the one that everybody missed, and which was rated the crappiest beer of all, was
universally, huh?
Bud Ice.
Okay.
Which was door number 2.
That was number 2.
This was Bud Ice. Okay.
Tying with the worst, the second worst was Budweiser and Busch Light. Budweiser was number 3.
Yeah, that was by far the worst.
And
I think universally, because that was the one we couldn't even finish.
Busch Light was number 1. And the best beer, the best shitty beer of all, was Hams, which nobody's ever heard of.
And that was number 4.
That was number 4. So,
all right.
Scott knows nothing about shitty beer.
Good.
He missed all of them.
I'm happy about that.
And then Scott and Chris tied with 2 correct each.
Steve.
Steve. Sorry.
We said 2 correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there was.
Good. I'm proud of myself.
I can tell you this. There, after the second one, there was an aftertaste that I started to have, and I went, I need water.
So how is it? So you look at these three.
I need some water.
By default, just Budweiser would win, but it's the worst one.
It universally won the worst.
The worst
from all of us.
From Busch Light, Bud Ice, and Hams. Budweiser, the king of beers, is the worst friggin' beer on the planet, apparently.
Yeah. No, Bud Ice was the worst.
Oh, that was the worst. Okay.
Bud Ice.
Had any of you guys had Bud Ice?
I don't know.
Yes, I have.
I'm sure.
I'm trying to think. I know I've had Bud Ice and Busch Light. I think I've had Busch. I don't know if I've ever had Busch Light.
Bud Ice.
Obviously, I had Budweiser years ago. I don't think any of us have heard Hams.
Yeah, I don't. I am not familiar with Hams at all. It's from Milwaukee.
I was hoping that would win.
I guess it did.
Yeah. Okay.
It was the least disgusting.
Least disgusting.
Amazing.
I've never checked into Bud Light or Bud Ice before. So
wow.
The overall 19,500 people checked it in. It's a 2.08 rating.
Oh my gosh! Imagine that.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And 5 friends have had it. Steve, you've had all 5 of them.
Oh, sure I have. Yeah.
I have no idea.
You won't find me rating any of those. In fact, I was trying to think, like, the last time I had maybe a domestic beer, I know I had a PBR a few years ago with Scott and his brother Andy.
I don't even know who's making PBR anymore.
Oh.
I mean, Pabst doesn't exist anymore, so somebody is is brewing it
It's all
for
part of a
them.
big conglomerate. They own
or somebody's bought up that brand.
It might be Pabst, might be the brand. Yeah, but it's like Schlitz is all under that. It's PBR, like all those kind of shitty things are under one umbrella.
Yeah. So going back to your college days, like what was the worst beer that you remember drinking?
Schlitz malt liquor, the Bull.
Yeah. Schlitz Ice is the worst I remember.
Oh God!
They made an ice beer, So I should say ice malt liquor. Oof, rough.
Old
but
English number 8's pretty bad.
You could
too.
get a 6-pack for like $2 in my day.
There was something called, I remember, it was called like Red Dog or something that I remember having that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I remember Red Dog.
Yeah, Red Dog was pretty bad. Back in the day when you didn't have any money, and you would just go and try to find something.
Steel Reserve is another one that's still out there. I actually got one last year because I'd never had it. And Calvin's like, "You got to go find a Steel Reserve," and they still make it. You get it like the 7-Eleven up here for like $1.99.
I feel like Keystone Light was a popular one, maybe. It came in the green bottles, I think, or something.
Yeah, we were talking the other day about are there any good beers that aren't in a brown bottle?
Probably not.
No.
So clear bottle or green bottle. And is that on purpose? Is that because the light will make those beers really bad really quick? Or
It totally does. The only one I can think of that might be the best of them is maybe like a Corona Light. If you put a lime in it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's better than Extra. Corona Light's actually better than Corona Extra.
Right. Not by much, though.
No. I don't like the
not by much.
Modelo's. I don't like any of those. Any of the Heinekens, any of that shit. I don't like any of that stuff. So.
No.
I don't know.
Well, we've rated beer, boys. We've rated our
We got through
beer.
it.
2024, yeah.
We've rated some real...
Had some winners.
Not some good beer. So, what a fun episode this has been.
It has. Never do the shitty beer tasting flight again. We've done it. Let's not do that again.
Maybe next year we'll do a blind taste test of some really good craft beer.
Some good stuff, yeah.
Some good stuff.
I think we'll stick with the theme and just do that.
All right. Well,
cheers, fellas.
Until next time.
Happy holidays.
It's the Brewery Underground Podcast. Happy holidays, everybody.
I can't wait to dump these fucking beers out.
Scott, what do you got to say?
Cheers, fellas. Thanks, Chris, for being on.
Enjoyed it, boys.
Bye.